to Getting Sketchy Live, brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. And now, let's get sketchy.
Well, hello there, everyone. Matt here with thevirtualinstructor.com, and welcome to Gettin Sketchy Live, the greatest live broadcast in all of YouTube. Hope everybody's doing fantastic this evening as we're going into episode
6.
I think. We don't know. But I trust Ashley.
It's 6.
It's 6? Yeah, okay.
I've done 3. You've done 2. Tonight's your 3rd.
Oh, perfect. All right, episode 6 of season 15 of Gettin Sketchy Live. Tonight I will be doing the drawing, and I will be drawing a cat with white charcoal on black paper. For those of you who don't know what this show is all about, either Ashley or I, we try to create a drawing for you guys inside of 45 minutes. We'll have a timer and everything. And it seems like we just keep challenging ourselves and making it more and more difficult. And I'm now regretting my decision of what I'm doing tonight, because I do think this is going to be difficult in the amount of time. But we'll see what happens. If you are watching this live on YouTube, there is a chat box, of course. You can post comments and questions. If you do have a comment or question that's directed specifically at Ashley or I, if you'll use the super chat function, we'd really appreciate it. That would make your comment or question stand out. And we'll give you a little cheer for that. It does cost a little bit of money, but it does go to help the channel out, so we would appreciate that. And if you want to follow along with the photo reference, I will have the photo reference up tonight, but if you want to have your own copy of it so that you can create your drawing, you can find that by clicking on the little icon of me below this video. That will take you to the YouTube channel. And then while you're at the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then click on the post tab. There's a post tab about halfway down the page, and that will take you to this photo reference and also a link back to the video so you don't miss a thing. Now, I've said all the stuff, well, not all the stuff, but most of the stuff I usually say here at the beginning, but I haven't asked Ashley how he's doing. How are you doing, Ashley?
I'm doing fantastic, Matt. I feel like this show, you've picked your subject just for me because I love cats. And I know Matt hates cats, but I can see in the chat that many of you are excited about the cats also. So this one's for us, the cat lovers.
Yeah, cats are okay. Okay, the problem is I'm allergic to cats, so that's kind of a strike against cats.
Your body doesn't like cats.
My body doesn't like cats, and also I don't really like their attitude.
What?
Yeah, I don't really like cats' attitude. I like dogs' attitudes. I feel like I connect a little bit more with. Yeah, happy-go-lucky, laid back, not angry, not moody.
There is some moodiness. Even my cat, and he loves me. But the other day, he was sitting in my seat, and I tried to move him, and he smacked my hand away and hissed at me. It's very rare, I mean, we get along really well, but he's king of the castle. Believes he is.
See, I'm the king of the castle in my house, and I don't need an animal telling me
to usurp
how to live my life.
Yeah, it feels like that a little bit with a cat in the house sometimes.
Right. Oh, well, I wish I wasn't allergic to cats, because we would probably have one, honestly. We've had 3 dogs. We've had all kinds of crazy animals living in our house. And we have the kids, too, which count. But, it is what it is. But we're going to be drawing a cat tonight. Anyway, you're here because you like to draw and paint, and if you want to go further with that, you need to go over to thevirtualinstructor.com, where we have tons of lessons, thousands of lessons, including courses, classes, weekly live lessons, ebooks. There's also a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers that includes all of everything you would need to teach, except for your warm body. And also we do weekly critiques as part of the Members Minute, as part of the program as well. You can scan the QR code on your screen or look for the link in the description below. Go check it out when you have some time. You will not regret it. All right. I think we are about ready, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That was quick.
Are you? Yeah, I'm trying to get faster. Get into the content, the content people want to see.
That's right. I understand that.
I'm glad everybody is people are joining us from all over the world. It's good to see you guys. And I just see this comment here. Matt, how do you prevent allergy when sitting along with Ashley?
I saw that one too.
Well, I'm actually also allergic to Ashley. So I've got like a couple hours before the boils start developing on my neck.
Matt does have the sniffles a lot right when I come over.
Right. And
maybe it is sort of a cat allergy transfer off me and onto him. He's like, I don't know what it is. Either he's or like you said, it's just me. There's shots for that.
It's probably Ashley. It's also probably because I'm sitting in like years of layers of pastel dust. Yeah, because I don't clean up this area.
I showed him your sharpening container last week. So
when
you open and close that drawer, just an atomic cloud of color comes out of it.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Listen, there are pencil shavings and stuff all over the floor. In fact, I was sharpening the pencil before we started here, and little white flakes were flying all over the paper, and Ashley asked me if I had a constellation on my paper or if I was already plotting out where the cat should be located.
I thought he had dots to connect on his paper. I was calling him out for it. But that wasn't it. It was just shavings going everywhere.
Yeah. There's going to be more flying shavings in just a minute. Let's see. I am feeling a little sniffly tonight, but surprise.
Maybe I'll just back up a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is more cold. I think I might be getting a cold, but that doesn't matter. You guys don't care about that. Let's go ahead and get into this one. All right. We'll go through the materials here real quick, and then we'll get into it. And here's a look at the reference over here. Our little cat. We are working on black paper. This is Strathmore Artigan Coal Black paper. It is a pretty smooth surface, which is going to work out great because I'm going to be doing some blending and smudging and things. I'm going to be using white charcoal, so we're not going to be making any marks with a dark medium. We're only going to be making marks with a light medium, so we're basically drawing in reverse. So, most of us are used to making marks with a dark medium on a white surface or even a toned surface. This is flip-flopped. So we're going to be thinking more in terms of the highlights that we see, and then we're going to be leaving the shadows. So there's a lot of black in this. There's a lot of white in there too, but there's, the paper, the black of the paper is going to be working to address our dark areas, and then we're going to be making applications with the white charcoal. So I have, I came up with the materials that I'm going to be using for this. And I was like, yeah, I know I got plenty of white charcoal pencils over there. Mm-hmm. Plenty, right? I have all the materials, right? Well,
it's like an art store.
Here's my first charcoal pencil.
And it's gone.
Oh, no. It literally is gone. Oh, my goodness.
It's so small, you'll never find it down there.
It looks just like another pencil shaving on the floor here. Okay, so there's one of them.
Oh, my gosh. You really.
This is the pencil I'm going to start out with. Yeah. And I said, surely I have more. So I found this one. All right, so not bad.
Yeah, twice as big.
And then I have this one. So when I found that one, I was like, oh, I'm good to go. Yeah. Now, I sharpen these pencils. I sharpen these pencils with a blade. So I love to sharpen these pencils with a blade and also a sandpaper pad. So if they look a little bit different than what you see coming out of your pencil sharpener, that's why. Now, I had this pencil extender, so it's not the end of the world. I can use these pencils.
You're not going to be scraping your knuckles on the paper while you draw.
Well, just drag my knuckles around on the ground all day. So I've got also a stick of white charcoal. This is General's white charcoal. Now, I should say, we know that charcoal is burnt organic material, right? Not white charcoal. We've discussed what we think white charcoal is, right?
Right. It's calcium carbonate and some other things.
Yeah, it's not really burnt wood like traditional charcoal.
And it doesn't really feel exactly like real charcoal either. It doesn't have that super dry feeling.
Right. It feels like hard pastel.
Yeah.
And I have a few blending stumps here and a couple of blending tortillas. So if you wondered what the difference is, blending stumps are basically compressed paper that has been cut or shaved. Blending tortilla is rolled paper. So a blending tortillan is, it still has a nice tip, but blending tortillan is always going to have that end of the paper that's kind of just stuck back in there. The blending stumps usually have two ends to work off of. Okay, so blending stump, blending tortilla. And I also have a few different types of erasers. My kneaded eraser. Yes.
Welcome back.
Yes. Or Atlas 31, whatever you want to call it. Coming towards Earth.
I saw a change in direction.
If you don't know what that is, look it up. Atlas 31. And I have an electric eraser. Two here. And I have my Tombow mono eraser. And these two erasers are vinyl or plastic erasers. So we have to be careful with them because they can tear the paper. And unfortunately, they leave little shavings. So we'll be using the eraser mainly to remove the material from the surface to create shadows. All right. See a couple questions already.
Yeah,
Enrique says, "Hey, Matt and Ashley, can I use Mitance paper with white charcoal?" Absolutely. The Canson Mitance paper is going to be more coarse than the paper that I'm working on. So, the blending and the smoother transition is going to be a little bit more difficult to achieve, but absolutely you can use it.
Enrique could use the smoother side. Still not quite as smooth as yours.
Yeah, even I was considering the smoother side, and it's still not going to be as smooth as, not even close to as smooth as this paper. Keith also asked, how will you manage the midtones with just white charcoal and black paper? And that's going to be through blending with the blending stump. So I can put down some of the white charcoal. You'll see. You can put down some of the white charcoal, and then you can use the blending stump to soften it. So I'm going to be doing some softening. All right. I think we're ready.
All right. Well, let's start the timer.
I'm not.
Get into it.
I'm not ready. Listen, I'm arguing with myself. I'm not ready.
He's stalling.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of figure out where the different points of the body of the cat are located, and then we're going to use those marks for comparison purposes to figure out where everything else is. All right, bless you there, Ashley.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. You guys heard that. I'm allergic to Matt now.
Yeah, finally. Finally. All right, so we got 45 minutes on the clock, and I'm going to start by deciding where the ear is. And I already kind of made a mark here. I was cheating a little bit, but I think I'm just going to kind of move it over just a little bit. I also wanted to kind of see how strong the white charcoal pencil is going to be on this paper.
Matt, Terry, and June are wondering, what is your paper size?
It is 6.5 inches wide by 6 inches tall.
Okay.
Yes.
So not quite a square.
Thank you for reminding me of that. All right, so I am using basically the edges of the picture plane to try to figure out where the curvature of the head happens. And with white charcoal, you want to kind of be very light with your applications first on this black paper. If you're working on tone paper, that's not that big of a deal. But we don't want to get too heavy with our applications. I almost said too dark too quickly, but that wouldn't be the case.
Too solid.
Nose is about, we'll call it about right there.
This cat looks like he's sitting at a window looking at a bird.
You know what's interesting? I just realized this. I'm drawing a cat right now, and I'll be drawing a dog.
Yeah, no.
Last
week I drew a fish, so it's all about household pets. I was thinking about household pets this morning. My wife shared a story that she saw, of course.
Were you thinking about it in that way? Were you thinking... I'm thinking of household pets.
Not exactly.
Today.
I was thinking of exotic household pets. And you had an exotic pet.
I did have an exotic pet.
And I did too. I had an iguana when I was growing up, and you had a bearded dragon.
Bearded dragon.
A glorious bearded dragon. It was huge. My wife.
She was.
That's right. It was a she.
It was a she. We didn't know that until she started burrowing and laying eggs.
So apparently it's been cool in Florida, and the iguanas have been falling out of the trees.
Yeah, I think that happens about every year, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
I didn't know that. I didn't know it got so cold that they just stiffened up and fell out of the trees. It
Yeah.
rains iguana. And I thought, I had an iguana when my wife was telling me this. And I thought, does that qualify as an exotic household pet?
I don't know. I don't know if it is or not.
Is it exotic enough?
All right, so if we go straight down, if I decide to keep the ear where it is right now, and we go straight down from where it ends, then we see where the eye begins.
It's a good trick.
And then we've got our nose right here. And if we decide to keep the nose where it is, looks like it's at the middle of the eye. So the middle of this point right here kind of lines up at the middle of the eye.
So you're kind of using what you have to plot where that eye falls inside of the head.
I am.
Thinking about what its vertical and horizontal relationships are to the contours. It's a great way to draw.
All right. So then we've got our ear right here. Now we're going to find the second ear. And if this comes back, let's see. It looks like it connects to the head almost in the middle of the picture plane. So this is the middle. So that's about right. And this kind of back of the head comes back. So the second ear looks like if we drop down just a little bit underneath it, the first, and then draw a line kind of straight down, kind of out right here. And then we just kind of need to make sure that we've got enough space between where the eye is located and where that ear is. Let's go ahead and see if we can draw a little bit of that white shape on the mouth. Let's try to make sure that that is in the right place. So I'm trying to, before I commit to anything, I'm trying to make sure that I'm okay with where everything is right now. That's what's happening right here. So, all right. So the second ear is light in value. So it's going to be pretty important. We're just going to bring that back. And it looks like it comes down all the way to just above the bottom of the, or the top of the eye. There's a little bit of space, so maybe not quite that far down.
Sarah says it's already looking good. She's so excited for this one. She has black art paper and hasn't decided how to use it yet. Well, whether you use to make a cat or a human portrait or something else, pictures like this, references where the subject seems to have a strong shadow that sort of fades into black are excellent choices. And we can see that happen on the back side of the cat's head. The contour of the back of the head is really just a dark gray, blurry line that doesn't even make it to the edge of the picture plane before it fades away. So really, subjects that are really emerging out of the darkness are excellent choices for black paper.
Now, I have a video on, it's called Are You Overlooking This Paper? But it's about drawing on black paper. So if you've never drawn on black paper before, I would check out that video. It's on YouTube. It's also on the website.
Another type of subject lighting that I love to do on black paper is a backlit subject where there seems to be sort of a glow around the subject from that backlighting. Again, the paper, usually the subject is rather dark themselves or itself, whatever it may be. And so you really get a lot of economy from the drawing the amount of drawing that you have to do on black paper with a backlit subject.
Okay, I think we're about ready to commit here. Almost there.
All right.
Just want to make sure everything is approximately in a generally correct location.
Karina says she really loves it when you explain where you are looking at while drawing. That really helps her out, and each and every time. And yeah, just that internal monologue, sharing your internal monologue while you sort through all the decisions it takes to build a drawing is helpful as watching the motions themselves.
Oh, well, very good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, I'm going to go clean up some of these edges here, clean up some of the lines, and that'll allow us to...
Not surprisingly, Orion Nebula says, my favorite black paper is astronomy subjects. I'll bet. Myself included. Not necessarily on black paper. I do like to make space paintings on a toned black canvas using oil paint, because you can put little marks down and really soften them, like they have a little glow. It's very easy to make a glow out of the oil paint on a black canvas.
Okay, just softening a little bit with the blending stump. And just kind of cutting out some of the extra white charcoal that we don't really need here. This back edge is going to be a little softer, so we'll go ahead and soften that up a little bit. Just using the blending stump. And this is what I'm talking about by those medium values. You can see how we're going to be able to create those with the blending stump. See how that softens things out.
Lets a little more of that black paper peek through. All right, Matt, we have a super chat.
All right.
This is from Jenny from Tucson. Hi, guys, she says. Do you think we should sign all artwork, including pieces done following a tutorial? Great question.
The question about following a tutorial. I've seen a lot of people post actually drawings and paintings that they've done after my tutorials, and they put after my name, which I think is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good way if you're doing a tutorial or you're doing a copy of a drawing. I think that is a good way to do that kind of stuff.
I've done that with a Van Gogh myself, a Van Gogh copy that I did.
I don't sign most of my artworks, actually. So, no, you definitely don't have to sign everything that you do. But I also get people that are mad at me for that.
For not putting your name
for
on
not
it,
putting my
not
name on
it.
artworks. Yeah, most of them are people in my family. But,
I don't usually think to do that either.
Okay, so we're just going to soften up some of these initial applications. We're seeing some of those light grays, and we're going to kind of push everything backwards again, kind of make it a little bit lighter, and then we're going to start making it a little bit darker by making the applications a little bit less strong. And then we're going to go back in and start making things a little bolder.
So
gradually.
building towards the light.
Right.
Did we give Jenny a super chat cheer?
We haven't yet because I have to push the button. And I'll push it right in just a second.
Well, you're going to have to push it twice because there's another super chat. This from FIFA Boy.
Oh, goodness.
Thoughts on AI paintings being used to lower art production costs and on building an app that can verify if visual artworks are human-made or AI-made.
What a topic.
Yeah, well, that's a hot-button issue.
You know what, guys? I'm going to shoot it to you straight, and you're not going to like this answer. My opinions on AI have changed a little bit since. Actually, let's do the chat. Let's do the cheers first.
All right, let's do the cheers.
So we're going to double that one up.
Yeah!
So thank you to both of you guys for giving us a super chat. You might recall that we had an AI intro here for a little while, and I love that. I think it was funny. I think it was really good. But not everybody liked it, and I understand why. When you see something that you know in reality to be different than what you see with virtual reality, it kind of short circuits your brain a little bit and feels unnatural and weird, and that can make people feel uncomfortable. And that's kind of what I thought was going on with that. Now, with that being said, as I'm starting to bring in the light over here, my opinions on AI have changed a little bit because it feels like to me that there is a lot of untruths going around, and I think that AI is going to be used for deception, and I don't like that at all because I'm a big proponent of the truth.
Yeah,
and
every technology has fallen into that trap. Newspapers have been used for deception.
Yeah, I can see that. But
harder to detect.
Now, so
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not as big of a fan of AI as I used to be. However, I do find it very useful, and I use it in my business.
For work.
Yes,
Yeah.
I use it for work, and it is very helpful.
It can improve your efficiency if you know if you know something about your topic or your subject already. You can
Now,
ask
here's
the right questions.
Here's the hard truth about AI for illustration. Illustrators are hired to create an image, and they have used all different types of resources to do that, all different types of media and resources. And many of you will remember that when digital art started on the scene, a lot of traditional artists were very put off by it because they didn't see the value. They thought it was cheating to use a computer.
Right.
And, Ashley and I have dealt with people who...
I felt that way for a time myself.
Yeah.
First time I saw a digital illustration that looked like watercolor, I was a little upset.
But when you do it yourself, you realize, wait a minute, I'm actually painting.
Right. It's just another medium. I still have to make very similar or the same decisions.
Right. Now, AI is different, obviously, because, a person is not necessarily making the marks.
Right.
Even with digital
Pixels or
art,
otherwise,
someone is making the marks. It's just in a digital format. AI is different, but illustration has always been created as a commercial venture. So an illustrator is making a piece of art that will be reproduced in some ways, and there's usually a contractual agreement between the illustrator and the art director or the person purchasing the illustration. The person purchasing the illustration had to pay for it and wait for it to be made, but their end result was just for an image. The reality is artificial intelligence is capable of making a ton of different varieties of images, and anyone who's not an artist can use it to create their own imagery for free or for a fee that's associated with a subscription to a specific AI program. That changes the landscape of illustration, and fighting it is not going to change anything. You are not going to be able to fight that and say, well, this isn't a good illustration because it wasn't created by a human. That's fine. That may be your stance on things, but the people who are consuming that material are not going to care very much. They're not going to care as much as you do because you're an artist. You understand?
Yep.
So I would say that unfortunately, if if a customer wants to use AI to produce their illustrations that they need for their publications or whatever, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do to stop that.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
No, AI is just going to keep getting better and better, and the imagery is going to keep getting more realistic and more believable, and there's not much we can do about that. So I do not think that creating an app that will detect if something is made with AI or not is worth your time. That is just maybe a brutal truth.
There are people do that for example, college papers. Professors will run papers through a program to detect what percentage of it they believe, or it would deduce, is created by AI, and that's considered cheating, right? So what's the difference, right?
I can see that being a more viable app creation.
So we're just talking about thinking in the same way and doing the same thing with images as opposed to written material. So it may be handy to know. It may be important to know if you are, say, someone in an art school who's taking a digital course.
Right.
The professor might want to know. But and you can make the argument that hiring an illustrator to make your illustrations, you could get a better product. I mean, you could get a product that's more in line with what you want it to be like, or to look like, or to market to, than maybe just trying to describe it to an AI, because you can maybe be better understood by a human and go through different revisions, or they could have a better feel for your idea or your demographic that you're marketing to or trying to reach. So I think you could still make that argument. You could also make the argument that AI is great at making images based on images it has seen. So if you want to create some sort of an image that's not like anyone has ever seen, you might still say, well, I need a human for that, because AI can only reproduce based on images that it's seen. It's not creative in the same kind of way as a human. It's just highly, highly productive. You can give you 1,000 images in the style of Matt Fussell, but if Matt does something very different than he's ever done before, he has the option and the choice to do that. The AI couldn't tell you, what would Matt draw if he drew something different than anything he's ever drawn before? Wouldn't necessarily be able to produce that. So, there's I guess for myself, I wonder and think about how creative is it really, or how good is it at taking a lot of data and putting in a blender, and kind of pouring out images that look like lots and lots of other images that many people have created.
But, in fairness, if an illustrator is tasked to create an image in the style of somebody or a specific type of style, they're also going to do the same thing.
Right. I totally agree with that.
It's just going to take them longer to do it.
I feel like AI is going to impact the type of work illustrators do more than the type of work artists do.
Yes. Yeah. And illustrators are artists. I know Ashley might feel differently.
No.
I think
I know what you mean. But I guess for the work that illustrators do for the purposes they do it versus the purposes non-illustrating artists, make their art for.
This is going to sound terrible coming from me, but if I was in art school right now, I would be working to develop a style of art that I can sell and market that's unique and different, but I would not be going into illustration. And that is what my concentration was in college. I'm an illustrator. And I do feel like with AI, the future for illustrators does not look real bright. But you should take that, take that knowing that there are a lot of professions that are going to be replaced by AI, not just illustration. And illustration probably won't be completely eradicated by AI, but illustration is already a extremely competitive environment with humans.
With humans.
So when you bring AI in there, it just makes it even more competitive. And, if I was considering, a career right now in art for my future self, and I was a young person like I once was in college, I might be looking into AI technologies. I might be trying to learn how to program AI to create imagery. And that's just the way things are with technology.
Yeah.
It
happened with the photograph.
Yes.
Photography changed painting. People kept painting, but they changed how they painted. And they made sure they made paintings that didn't look like something that you could get from a camera.
When I was in college, Photoshop was brand new.
Yeah, I remember.
And nobody really thought that, people would be making images. Back then, the images you made in Photoshop looked a little Microsoft Painty.
Right. It was one step up from Microsoft Paint. It really was. Not a whole lot of tools. And boy, is it awesome nowadays.
So, technology's just changed things. And you can't, if you fight changes in technology, it's really a losing battle. You just need to figure out ways that you can fit and conform to those changes and be successful. Some of the painters of the time when photography came out became photographers.
Right. Some became photographers. Some became impressionists. They started painting with really thick, heavy paint that has a visible texture that couldn't be replicated with a camera at the time.
But there will always be a place for handmade art. So don't, but it just might not be an illustration.
Right, in that field.
Unfortunately.
So we'll respond to that. We'll as a species, we'll have to respond to that. It'll take a little time to get our bearings, I guess. But it's important to know, like Matt said, it's not just, AI really makes news with its images and its video, but it's across all sectors. Incidentally, Michael Caine just, I don't know what the right word is, donated, gave his voice to AI for free usage. So I wonder if that's how some actors are going to respond. Maybe they're worried about future work, so they'll just make sure that the future looks and sounds like them by giving their images and their voices away.
All right. So, we could talk about this really all night, but back to the drawing here. You can see that I'm kind of working my way from the top to the bottom. So just making light applications, doing a little bit of blending here and there. Mm-hmm. And I'm also going back in with the eraser and removing areas that should be in shadow. I'm going to add a little bit more definition to the top of the cat, the top of the head of the cat here on the back side, because I don't really want to have a huge dark shape back here against another dark shape, because that's really going to be, where the edge of the cat is, the cat body. So I'm just adding a little bit extra charcoal back here, a little bit more of the white charcoal. Now I don't want to lose the edge of the ear, so I'm going to go back with the Tombow here and
dark edge.
Just remove a little bit of it so that we can see that edge. Now, it might be tempting to say to yourself, oh, I would like to make an area dark on here with dark charcoal. I would not recommend that because it's going to appear different from the black of the paper.
It probably will look darker, but it'll stand out and not feel like it's receding into a shadow. And one thing to note, is sometimes under the lights, our black paper will look a little bit lighter than it does to, to the eye.
Speaking of the eye, we have moved ourselves to the eye, and it's kind of waiting for this section, because when we start making stronger light applications, things are going to start to really make sense. I've been putting that off because it's such a fun part of the drawing, but I guess it's time for us to go into this eye. It's going to happen sometime, right?
Right.
So we've got a really strong highlight that comes across the front, and it's kind of soft in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and erase out where the pupil is. And then I'm just going to grab the blending stump and soften the area around the pupil. Kind of leave the space for the pupil there. I obviously need to make that a lot lighter. Start with that. And I'm going to go ahead and erase a little bit of a dark edge here. I can get in there.
It's nice to have those small stick form erasers. It really is.
We'll go a little bit lighter. Boy, we could spend some time in this eye. There's actually quite a bit of variety in there. Soften that up a little bit again.
The question, will we see the electric eraser tonight? Think you're going to need that?
I've got it handy.
Just in case he needs more horsepower.
I have no idea how much time I've got left.
Oh, you got 15 minutes left.
Oh gosh, I can't believe that. That's feels like plenty of time. It really does feel.
Well, you've got a lot of the drawing is in. Much of what's left is just black paper or very, very white. Now you got to save a minute for the whiskers. Those will probably go in last, I would imagine.
Yeah,
and they are prominent.
All right, let's go ahead and put this highlight in here. And I'm going to switch to a sharper pencil here, fresh one. And we've got this strong highlight, so I'm going to put a lot of pressure on the pencil now. So I can make it a little bit lighter. That highlight
This will be one
right
of our
across.
widest areas, widest marks.
Right across that pupil a little bit.
Makes it feel glassy. I like it when the highlight crosses into the pupil a little bit. That makes it really feel like it's not part of the eye, but it's on the outside of the eye.
So drawing like this in reverse can take a little bit of getting used to. I used to do a project with my students that I called reverse self-portraits. I would take pictures of them in a dark room with a strong light source, and then they would have to do self-portraits. And it takes a little bit, it would take them a little bit of time to get used to thinking about things where you're adding the light values instead of adding the dark values. Mm-hmm. So if you're new to this and you're getting frustrated, just give it some time. And what will happen is you will get better. Your drawing will get better all the way around.
Even when you're working on white paper.
Yes, right. So it looks like my cat he's a little bit, the cat I'm drawing is how I feel about cats. This cat over here looks nice and sweet. This cat looks like the way I think about cats.
He's up to something.
You see his little...
Yeah.
He is...
He's up to something.
Yeah.
He's got a plan.
And I think I think I stretched him out a little bit, but that's fine. Still going to be cattish.
I always do an exercise with my students before we make a drawing on black paper for the first time. Well, I guess an actual project on black paper is we just all draw a sphere together, a sphere. And, I draw it so that it's up on a screen in front of them. And I can just tell, it's just so hard for some of them not to take that white charcoal and start coloring in the shadow on the sphere, Right. And so we actually started, instead of working towards the highlight, we start with the highlight. We just put a big glassy white spot inside of a black circle. Then we start lightening our pressure as we get towards the shadow. And what really is eye-opening for them is the cast shadow that's underneath the sphere. We draw like a little line, like a table's edge behind our sphere, and an oval under our sphere. But then we don't do anything with that oval. We just start working with our white charcoal on the outside of it and leave the shadow alone. So they, and hopefully that saves paper and they don't have to crumple up their like 18 by 12 inch paper and start over. Because it is challenging sometimes for them not to put that white. Oh my gosh, speaking of wasting materials, Matt, I'm sure you had this experience with scratchboard for the first time. Some students would take that scratchboard and they would just put a big white outline around their subject.
Right.
And try to turn it in. They're done. Right. And they were making a mark where they normally would with their pencil, but on a surface that scratches out white marks. And so if you haven't drawn this cat with Matt tonight, but you want to draw on black paper, I would suggest cutting a small piece from a nice, big, expensive piece of paper and just doing a drawing of a sphere or a cube, something that won't take but just a few minutes, and you can tell quickly if you're thinking in reverse or not.
And, we've got quite a number of lessons on drawing on black paper too, over on the website.
It's true. It's a favorite for both of us.
So, I'm working very slowly, but you'll notice that I'm coming in with the blending stump and just softening things and then strengthening them back up. That's what's going to give me a variety of value here. So getting some of those midtones in place, like Keith asked about earlier. So I'm working pretty slowly here. But if this wasn't a time drawing, I'd probably be working even slower. Mm. And I just looked at the clock, and I should not be working this slower. I'm just sitting here thinking, I've got all day. It's time to start.
Well, once you get into that really white area on the chest, there's not much texture to be seen except around the edges.
There's these little whisker things here. Where we've, those little dark...
Where the whiskers go into?
Where the whiskers go into.
Yeah.
That sounds like a book, doesn't it?
Where the whiskers go. Where the red fern whiskers go.
Mm. Where the whiskers go.
looking good.
All right.
Just 7.5 minutes. That feels
Yeah,
like enough
that's
time.
when I get under 10 minutes, I feel like, oh my gosh.
I tell you, that's
That's when
how I felt with the fish last week too. It's like just need a little more time. I'm gonna have to look back at our subjects for the last few years and see, have they become more complex? The types of pictures we're choosing, or are we getting slower?
Well, no, I think we've always picked subjects that are just like barely make it,
Yeah, that's what I try to do.
And what's that theory where the amount of time you allot for a activity is
how long it takes.
Is how long it'll take.
Yeah.
There is that is some kind of theory.
So if we gave ourselves 2 hours, we would say, I can barely get it done in 2 hours.
Right.
Or in 20 minutes, we'd be saying the same thing no matter what.
Yeah, I could have picked a smaller picture plane. I could have picked a larger picture plane.
Now, I feel like I've gotten myself in some trouble with that choice before, where I picked a subject that I thought could be challenging to do in 45 minutes. I talked myself into believing that, and so I picked a picture plane that was just a little too small and had trouble getting into the drawing because of that. Kind of psyched myself out. I feel like I've done that before, so got to be careful with the size choice and the time drawing.
All right, almost ready to go down there. Get that big white shape in there. And all we'll have to do is the whiskers, but I'm getting a little bit more variety here. Go ahead and get real strong on the highlight right here on the white part of front of the mouth of the cat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead. We're going to switch over to the stick pastel for time purposes and go ahead and get this really white area. You know what? We'll get this area done first.
J.B. Weinstein has an interesting comment. It's kind of similar to what we were talking about with time. He says, there's this. The first 80% of the project takes 80% of the time. The last 20% of the project takes the other 80% of the time.
Okay, see that?
Yeah, sometimes, and it happens here. We'll squeeze in a lot of drawing in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's more work to do up here around the ear. I don't think it's going to get done.
Yeah, ear looks pretty good. Pretty good. I guess it's the closest part to us on the forward parts.
It should look like it's coming forward.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get a little bit more variety down here. Then,
yeah, that area down there, you don't see a lot of fur texture in that white shape, but you do see a lot of it around the white shape, which really tells us what it is.
There's shadow and stuff over here, so let's go ahead and get...
You do over there. Yeah, I see some more variety over there. All right, the stick is out. I feel like as you get that brighter or that larger patch of white in, that'll settle the grays into their place. Been an overwhelming amount of black in the composition thus far, but that's changing quickly.
I think this cat is wearing a bib.
Somebody else said that at the top of the show in the chat. It looked like a bib.
So I'm going to clean this up with the pencil. Granted, I have enough time. This a blend here.
Janine says the fur is so touchable.
Unless you're allergic.
Sure alert. That's right. I tell you what, cats are so soft, criminally soft.
All right, we're going to erase out a little bit with a kneaded eraser here.
Karina wonders if the white charcoal stick is softer than the white charcoal pencil. Do they
About
feel
the same.
about the same? Okay.
Yeah. Create a
Charles
little bit
says
of
he
a
likes the
hint.
drawing more than the photo. You know, the drawing has a little more, Matt's added a little more information in there, I feel like, with the direction of the fur growth. Seems a little more apparent in places.
Well, thank you. All right, so really quick in the shadow there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go ahead and make this a little bit stronger, and then we'll add our whiskers. Of course, with more time, I could work a little bit slower in this area and make sure my directional strokes are all clean and everything, but I'm just going to have to go a little quicker tonight. Trying to get them in there as best as we can.
Mm-hmm. The fur's flying. All right. Looking great. Now I know you're not finished.
Time's up. That's why you said that.
Yes, this time's up. And we have a comment. All one word cap says, you only have 10 minutes left.
That's right. There's only 10 minutes left. All right. Well, we're going to get those whiskers in.
Got to get the whiskers in, right?
I'm going to, since the time is up, I'm going to slow down.
I like that. Just pulling a little mark making out into the black shows us how soft that fur really is.
All right. Let's see if we can pull
The
some.
Argano says a beautiful tuxedo cat. Are these names still changed, Matt? Are these names in the chat still different?
I
I like that too.
know.
Yeah. I can't get used to some of these new YouTube handle names that we see in the chat. So, but thank you for your comments in the chat, nonetheless. Yep, beautiful tuxedo cat. I have a tuxedo cat, and got a lot of personality. They know they're all dressed
I
up.
thought you were going to say I have a tuxedo cat and I wear it everywhere.
Okay, Karina is buddied. I thought so. I've got to get used to you guys having two names and make that connection. Put those names together. Very good.
All right. Let's add some whiskers. Light touch there. Let's stop the electric pencil sharpener.
Take
And
your
now I'm going to
time.
go to my last pencil here, and I'm going to give this a little bit more of a sharpen than it has currently. So I'm going to use the sandpaper pad, And I'm not going to do this over the drawing, but I'm going to do it right underneath my nose. Breathe it in. All right. All right, so
good.
Let's see. Let's start with this one right here. We're just going to quick mark out. Just really try to commit to the mark.
Bear in the Garden says catastrophic success.
Oh, wow. Here comes the puns.
Catastrophic success. That's almost an oxymoron, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, isn't it?
Like a successful catastrophe. Love that. She goes on to say, extremely great for 45 minutes.
Thank you, guys.
There they are, whiskers. They play a big role here. I mean, there's a lot of black space, and those whiskers really reach out into it and create some sense of balance on their own. Just got to put them in. Put them in.
You just got to be confident, you know. Even though I've got some Sylvester hairs over here. You know, Sylvester the cat.
I had a professor that said a mark made with confidence is better than a perfect mark. It's better to, it just looks better. It registers in a different way than just like really kind of tiptoeing into a mark that may be perfectly shaped, but has a sort of a tentative, protective feel about it. So marks made with confidence can carry an image.
All right. We're going to call this cool
All
cat.
right, there we are. All right, Bibbs, he's done.
Bibbs. All right, very good. All right, now it's going to be time to get set up to draw a dog.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are members, we will, and who are joining us for the live session to follow, we'll see you in just a minute. Do we have anything else from the folks?
Yeah,
here?
Ryan Nebula says, how do you control the dust when sharpening?
I don't.
Okay, yeah.
It goes everywhere.
Yeah, it goes. Some of it makes it in, I guess it just goes everywhere. You do it over your sharpening drawer, but it doesn't all fall straight down.
Yeah, I kind of do it over the top of the sharpening drawer. You know, I'm going to add just a little bit more variety.
But he says this season is so fantastic. Yeah, I think we'll have a lot to talk about in their critique show coming up at the end of this season. And I guess we've hit pretty much our halfway point. This is the middle show. We had 5 before this one, and then we have 5 more, including the critique show. So we're not that far away. We've got just 2 more drawings each, and then we'll be there at the critique show. And I don't know what I'm going to draw next week. I've been thinking about it. I thought about it a little bit last night. I've been wading into color slowly. You know, I had my first couple of drawings. One was pencil. One was black and white charcoal on gray paper. Then last week, my subject was a gray fish, but there was color in there. So I feel like I'm going to have to get a little more colorful in the last couple of, what a good kitty. What a good kitty.
That's the only way I can rub a cat.
A 2D cat.
Yes. All right, let's switch out over here. All right. That is the wrong screen. There we go. That's the right screen. Doesn't look any different to you guys, but it's different. Now, Ashley, you were talking about what you're going to do next week. You're not really sure?
No, but I feel like it needs to be more colorful. You know, I talked about wading into color slowly, but, you know, I'll be hitting my 4th drawing, so it's pretty much now or never. So I'll try to pick something that I think is fun. Let's see. I've used pastel, charcoal, and pencil, so could be something with markers or even with some gouache or paint. I don't know. I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
I'm considering markers and maybe watercolor again.
Yeah, you've used watercolor this season, and you used watercolor last season, and I think the season before that.
Yeah, I've used watercolor 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, it's starting to become part of your regular Gettin Sketchy repertoire.
Well, yeah. I feel like I can do a watercolor painting, depending on the subject, pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you keep your colors simple and you've done that, not get too crazy with the palette. It does cover space well. You just have to give it time. Give it time to build your layers in the 45 minutes. Matt's done a good job of that. I've been a little nervous about using watercolor myself with a 45-minute time constraint.
I see Trail Walker 19. Do you guys do acrylics? We do acrylics as part of the static lessons. So we've never used acrylics in the 45-minute time frame here on Getting Sketchy, but there are a lot of acrylic lessons that you can find over at thevirtualinstructor.com. Many of them are free. You can check those out, and those are more developed paintings. Some of them are kind of more sketchy, but in 45 minutes, it would be a little bit difficult to mix paints and actually create a painting in that time frame with acrylics
and talk about it at the same time. I would be just totally locked in, trying to get something in 45 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. Mary Elizabeth saying, Ashley, do a Zorn palette.
I think I can do better
45
in 45 minutes with oil paint than I could with acrylic paint.
It
stays wet. You just keep grabbing color off the canvas and moving it around.
Even when you're using a Zorn palette, every color has a range of value. So you can't just say, I'm going to use these 4 colors here, You still have to mix the different values and stuff. So that's why I think watercolor is acceptable. Gouache, kind of pushing the limits there.
I did one where it was pen and ink with some gouache, and that seemed to work out.
And we use gouache all the time to enhance
right
drawings or paintings.
So colored pencil's a possibility.
Good. Colored pencils are slow too.
They are slow. That's where I would get in trouble with going too small, because I know I have to layer the colored pencils.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try to choose a subject and then let the subject choose my medium.
I think it's a good idea. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up for this evening. For those of you who are going to be joining us for the live session over at the Virtual Instructor, we'll see you in just a minute. I'm going to continue to inhale dust in the meantime and get ready to inhale dust for the next hour as well. Next week will be Ashley's 4th drawing of the season, and hopefully we'll see you then, or see you in the chat box anyway.
That's right.
Do you have anything else for the folks there?
Thanks for spending this hour with us. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I'm going to learn your new names. I see Jan says
Good luck.
It's permanent. It's going to stay that way, so I'm going to try to remember your nicknames and associate them with your new names as best I can.
Yeah. I know that Mary Elizabeth is a Lone World Caps.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have to come up with a little cheat sheet.
I know that one.
We can refer to.
And I know Kiriana or
that's
Karina is Buddy. That's
and Orion Nebula's name didn't change.
No, it didn't. How weird.
Same all the way through.
Okay, Patricia is asking, this photo reference is impossible to get from somewhere. Yeah, you possibly missed that at the beginning of the show. If you click on the little icon of me down in the corner, that will take you to the YouTube channel. And then there you'll find a post tab. If you click on that, the top post will be this photo reference with a link back to this video. So, all right. All right, I think that's it. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and sign out. Good night, everybody.